All right, Shalom. This is the brother Abad. You're back here once again. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Rachacha Kodash. Double honor to my teachers, the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. Yeah, I was curious about the racial divisions within these communities and neighborhoods throughout America, and I just wanted to pull up a map of how it looks, all right, during this time. And, it's very interesting. The one I pulled up was on CNN.com. And the title of it is, and you can pull this up wherever you live, whatever state you're in, you can pull this up yourself. And it'll show the racial divisions within America, within the state and the cities that you live in. The title of it is CNN.com, Race and Ethnicity Across the Nation. And it's interesting because it shows you that America is still very much divided, like very, very much divided. When you look at this map that I have, and I'm going to put it as a thumbnail. When you look at this map that I have, and it's showing you the dots, each dot represents 150 people. And of course, these maps aren't 100% accurate. It can be even more divided or less divided. I would go with even more divided because of what the scriptures teach us and tell us. But as you can see, they have white people, which there's no such thing as white people. They're Edomites. All right, they come from the lineage of Esau, the so-called white man within the scriptures, the man that was born without pigmentation, right? He was born with the curse of leprosy. He was a clean leper. But as you can see, these blue dots that are termed white people, and this is in the area that, over here, the GMS Virginia camp, this is our area, known as the 757. And, what you can see near the Virginia Beach area is where mainly, Virginia Beach and Chesapeake is where mainly a lot of the Edomites live. Now on this map, I'm not able to pull up Suffolk, which Suffolk is also a part of the 757. And a lot of them, like going down from Chesapeake into Suffolk, a lot of them are in those areas that are farther away from the city. One thing about this map, if you're familiar with this area, the areas that are predominantly occupied by Edomites, they reside in areas that are kind of not so much in the city. Like they're able to afford these huge backyards, live in these communities that's more into nature, more in wooded areas, all right? Kind of like, secretive and, away from niggas. All right, we know that you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, who are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, you've been thrown into poverty-stricken areas, all right? You've been thrown in the ghettos, the inner cities. So on this map, you see like Norfolk, right? Norfolk is predominantly inhabited by what they would term black people and Hispanic people, which are the tribes. But Norfolk is a very inner city place, all right? A very inner city, a lot of ghettos. All right, a lot of projects, a lot of trailer parks, even Portsmouth, okay? Portsmouth is it's a very, very, very inner city. It's a lot of low-income housing, ghettos, projects, so forth and so on. And, it's very interesting because, like I said, this shows you how divided we are. And like I said, you can pull this map up yourself wherever you reside, just for your own, getting your own information and seeing how divided it is where you live. And it's going to be, it's going to be the same thing, all right? It's going to be the same thing. Even when you look at, I'm going to use New York for an example. You look at a place like New York City, and you got predominantly Jake, all right? You so-called Negroes, Hispanic, and Native American Indians living in the boroughs, living in the inner cities. But when you go out to the more what they would deem country parts or more close to the nature, all right? The northern part of New York, Syracuse, and all these different places, you will predominantly see Edomites. Not to say you won't see Edomites in the inner cities. This is not what I'm trying to say. Of course, you're going to see Edomites in the inner cities and even in some of these low income areas because society is so fucked up. But predominantly, where they reside is separate from where you so-called Negroes, Hispanic, and Native Americans reside. Now they tell us, oh, we speak hate, we speak division, we speak about dividing people. But as you can clearly see, this map shows you that we're already divided. We're already separate. When we work together, we send our children off to the same schools. All right, we have integrated within work and within school, but when it's time to go back to our homes and our personal lives, we're very, very separate. And that's just the spirit. That's just the right spirit. The scriptures tell you. Let me go over to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy. Over here in Deuteronomy 32. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Starting at verse 8. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, and he separated the sons of Adam. Yes, we all come from Adam, but he separated the sons of Adam. So, people speak about coming together and being as one. That's a very Babylonian spirit, all right? That goes back to the time of Nimrod, right? The building of the Tower of Babel, trying to be one. All nations trying to be one. That's why the Most High Yahweh confounded the nations, right? Let me get that real quick. The Most High, he confounded the languages, all right? I think I said nations, but same thing. Where is it? Let me see. This is Genesis chapter 11, right? Verse 4. During the time of the building of the Tower of Babel, it says, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth, which the Lord, was going to do anyways. Verse 5, and the Lord power Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord power said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. So the Most High seen that everybody was one, everybody had one language. All right, isn't this what Christianity teaches, that God wants everybody to be one? Well, let's see what the true power of the scriptures thought about everybody being one and having one language. He said, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord power Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and left off to build the city. And they left off to build the city. So the Most High Yahweh, he confounded the languages of all the nations, right? And he scattered them into different regions, different areas. Okay, because he's not with everybody being one. He's not with everybody being the same. The Lord loves variety. All right, he's not bland like Esau. He doesn't want everybody to look the same, sound the same, dress the same. All right, be humanoid, android, robots. That's not the spirit of the Most High. Right? So when you look at a map like the one I have as the thumbnail, okay, it shows you that, we're already divided, even though people try to put up this fake facade and this imaginary fairy tale spirit. They try to put this thing out there as if the Most High want us to be one, or that we should be one. even us trying to be one and integrate hasn't worked. There's been more civil unrest, all right? There's been more stress, all right? There's been more political disputes, religious disputes. The scriptures tell you if a kingdom is divided against itself, it cannot stand. And America is the biggest melting pot on the planet Earth, all right? It allows all different type of nations, ideologies, beliefs, all right, people to come here and live here and dwell as one. But as you can see, this wicked experiment is not working, all right? And though you get mad at us and say that we teach hate, we teach division, well, look, you're already divided. You're hypocrites because you're already divided. You don't live amongst each other enjoying the same things. You don't go to the same bars, all right? You don't go to the same clubs. You don't go to the same outings. You don't go hunting together, fishing together. And if you do, that person is not able to completely be himself. It's very rare to see a so-called black man be able to hang with a so-called white man in his environment unless that so-called black man grew up around so-called white people. All right, and he was able to adopt their ways and, portray himself to be like one of them. Same vice versa with a so-called white man intermingling into the culture of a so-called black man. If he grew up around them, of course, it's easier for him to be able to hang around them. But for the most part, that's not his culture. That's not his vibe. That's not his spirit. And that's why when you get around their family members that's not around that environment, they don't accept the opposite culture because it's not in their spirit. They don't vibe with it. And you're not supposed to. Division is a beautiful thing. I just read in the scriptures how the Most High separated the nations, right? So when you go to this, like I said, you can pull it up on CNN.com and just Google CNN.com, race and ethnicity across the nation, and you can see how separate we are. And if one dot represents 150 people, which I said that can be, I believe it's even more than that. If one dot represents 150 people, let's just go with what they're saying here. Look how divided we are. And this is just Virginia, all right, the 757 part. I didn't even show the northern part of Virginia. When you get to the northern part of Virginia, that's very well off. That's even more close to nature and to the woods. You're really going to start to see Edomites, all right? That Edomites dwell there, and no Jakes, okay? So you pull these up, and it gives you more clarity on the fact that the spirit is true. All right, the spirit is true. We're divided, and the term of like redlining and separating so-called Negroes from so-called white people. Guess what? That's still in effect. Those things that happened during Jim Crow era and slavery, a lot of those effects, all right, that came from those actions have manifested and still taking place to this day. You just don't get rid of the effects of those type of situations and those atrocities overnight. All right. Let's go over to the book of Luke. The book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 17. It says, "But he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. And a house divided against a house falleth. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand?" And, this kingdom is divided on every level, even to the point that Edomites are against Edomites. You got Edomites that are Republicans, Edomites that are Democrats. It's just totally confusion. All right? When the kingdom is set up, the people of that kingdom should be one. So it's ran in unity. If it's not ran in unity, of course it's bound to fall, Yeah, so let me wrap this up with one of my favorite scriptures, one of the milk scriptures you learn coming in, but I love it because it never gets old. None of the scriptures ever get old. But this is Genesis chapter 25, verse 22. This is why you're going to see this division throughout America on these maps. It's Genesis chapter 25, verse 22. And it says, "And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Why was her children fighting in her womb? Because they weren't meant to be together. And that's what the scripture is going to say in verse 23. Let's read. And the Lord power said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. Remember we read earlier that the Lord separated the nations and confounded the languages. So these are 2 separate nations she have in her womb, so they're not meant to be together. He says, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Separated. They're going to be separated, not brought to one in unity. They're going to want to dwell in different regions, dwell in different areas, listen to different music, have different cultures, all right, experience different things. They're just a different type of people. And, reality shows you that. But when you want to live in these fake-ass philosophies and belief systems that keep you in a sense of ignorance and comfort, of course you're not going to pay attention to what's really in front of you. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I thought that was interesting. Lord willing, it was edifying. Until next time I say, shalom.